Good news. My son was discovered by a talent scout, and is going to earn a lot of money to support me. His old mother. Bad news. My son, who I have hidden for years, has been targeted by his father as soon as he debuted. When I was about to take my son and leave overnight, our home had already been surrounded. The young master of the Beijing Circle led people to surround my house. My son, fearless as a newborn calf, rushed forward. How dare you surround my house? I'll ask the police uncle to arrest you. The young master looked at me with a half smile. Did you teach him this? Turning against his own father for righteousness? I am a vicious female supporting role who can't have the second male lead who can't have the female lead. TSK. It's like a tongue twister. All in all, I am a woman who has become bad because of love. Out of jealousy for the female lead. I have done many unconscionable things. In the end, I was sent to a mental hospital by the male lead, and the second male lead who deeply loved the female lead. Although as long as I promise not to have any bad intentions towards the female lead, I can probably marry the second male lead whom I love but can't go smoothly. But is beautiful woman, have money and good looks. Why should I act with these crazy people who are chasing each other? So, after waking up, I decisively ran away. Carrying a child. There's no way. It's the plot setting. Although I only had sex with the second male lead, Qian, once. But in order to make me turn darker more intensely, the author designed a scene where the second male lead caused me to miscarry in order to protect the female lead. And I happened to wake up right after having sex with Qian. It's really absurd. But although I am outstanding in many ways, I still have imperfections. Yes. I am a little love-struck. It's true that I like Qian. So I couldn't bear to abort the child. So 10 months after leaving City A, I have turned from a perfect young woman into a perfect single mother. But judging from the healthy, happy, intelligent, lovely, filial and sensible growth of my little one, my choice is right. Oh, my dear son. You did a great job. After successfully shooting the first group of advertisements, I hugged my little one and gave him several fierce kisses. I knew that my son, Rowan, can handle anything easily. The thing happened last week. When I was shopping with my son, a talent scout struck up a conversation with us. I originally wanted to refuse, but seeing that my little one seemed quite interested, I agreed to let him try shooting a group of advertisements for children's educational toys first. If he likes it, I will develop him in the entertainment industry. If he doesn't like it anymore, he can quit directly. Although my parents left me a lot of money, the penalty for breach of contract in signing with the entertainment industry is still quite high. For the living standard of me and my little one in the future, I should be more cautious. But I didn't expect. My son became so popular. Looking at the glaring hot search, Qian couldn't even give birth to someone so similar. I comforted myself in my heart with trembling hands. It doesn't matter. Now many good-looking children look like celebrities. And probably Qian won't care either. I looked at the strange incoming call on my mobile phone. No way. 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 I was hesitating whether to answer it. My occasionally naughty little one leaned over. Mom. Someone is calling you. Saying that, his little finger helped me answer the call. A familiar voice that still sounded familiar after 5 years came from the other end. Rowan. You are really capable. You hid my son for 5 years. The little one didn't know who was on the other end. He only knew that the person's tone was unfriendly. Just as he was about to bravely stand up for his mother, I quickly covered his little cherry mouth. I made a gesture to him. Although he didn't understand, he still nodded. I took a deep breath, lowered my voice, and answered in a teenage boy's voice. Hello. You must have dialed the wrong number. I am not Rowan. The person on the other end was stunned for a moment. Isn't this Rowan's phone number? I said, no. This is my phone number. Cheyenne probably couldn't imagine, even if he pulled out all his hair, that I am no longer the old Rowan. But since this guy could get my new phone number so quickly, I guess my address here won't be very safe either. So I waved my hand grandly. Son, to celebrate your popularity, Mom will take you on a trip. As soon as the little one heard this, he happily went to pack his things. I briefly told my gay friend about my situation, and asked him to come and stay for 2 days to help me deceive Cheyenne. Then I booked a flight for that night, and went to pack my luggage. So absurd. Damn it. I only spent 2 hours. Just 2 hours to get everything ready and go out. As a result, as soon as I opened the door, I saw Cheon's big face, who should have been far away in City A. At the very least, he should just be on his way here. Long time no see. Fiang Qi. He leaned lazily by the door, looking at me with a half smile. Before my parents died in an accident, the An family was also a famous enterprise in City A. The Ji family and my parents saw that I liked Cheyenne, so they arranged our engagement. For this reason, after my parents had an accident, I lived in the Ji family for a while as Cheon's Fiang Qi. That's why I had the opportunity to make the rar ice cooked when Cheyenne was drunk. But after sleeping with him, I woke up and immediately left a letter of withdrawal and ran away, even though so much time has passed. When I see this delicate face again, which is like a character in a game model, my heart still races. Only, now I am guilty. When the little one saw me standing still at the door, he tilted his head curiously and looked. Then he saw that his own door was surrounded by a man who looked very much like him and 7 or 8 men in black. The little guy immediately pointed at Cheyenne indignantly and said, "How dare you surround our house? I'll ask the police uncle to arrest you. Did you teach him this?" Saying that, he moved closer to me. Because the little one was blocking behind me, I could only bend down to create distance, until I couldn't bend any further and reached the critical point of falling. Cheyenne held my back with one hand. "Turning against your own father for righteousness?" I turned my face away and stubbornly whispered, "You are not necessarily his father. Do you want me to do a paternity test?" I shut up. As I said before, the little one is filial. As soon as he saw me confronting Cheyenne, he immediately squeezed between us. Bad guy. Don't bully Mom. Good son. Because of the little one, Cheyenne and I pulled apart. Cheon's gaze finally fell on his son. He lowered his head. The little one had a confused feeling. For the second time, I hated being in a novel world. Why do children always drive me crazy? I picked up the little one in one go. I warned Cheyenne viciously. "What are you looking at? I gave birth to him. He's on my household registration. He's mine," Cheyenne shamelessly said. "I contributed to. And he's not on my household registration because you are unethical and left without a word while pregnant." At this time, the little one was very curious. Hearing words he had never heard before, he immediately pressed on my shoulder and propped up his small body and asked me, "Mom, what does running away while pregnant mean?" Cheyenne took the opportunity to chime in. "Yes. Why did you run away while pregnant?" "Forget it. Let's put the little one in the room first. The old mother is deeply exhausted." The little one was not at ease leaving me alone facing Cheyenne. When I asked him to watch TV in the bedroom, he firmly held my hand. "Mom, I want to protect you. I don't want to watch TV." The old mother's heart melted again. After I gave two fierce kisses on the little one's chubby little cheek, Cheyenne, who had followed in at some point without me noticing, spoke quietly. "Wife, I also want to protect you. I don't want to watch TV either." I was furious. "Who's your wife?" Cheyenne let out an "oh," and then changed his words. "Fiang Qi. I also want to protect you. I don't want to watch TV either." After saying that, the meaning was self-evident. I slapped him on the face. "Shameless?" He covered his face pitifully. "You are unfair in your actions." Because of my slap just now, the little one and Cheyenne were not so tense anymore. He looked at us back and forth and asked, "Mom, who is this person?" Before I could answer, Ji Chayan said, "I am your father." The little one immediately glared at him. "Bah! I am your father." I didn't laugh. "Really?" Chayan and I went to the living room one after the other. I didn't intend to entertain this uninvited guest. I didn't even pour him a glass of water. I just gracefully picked up my own water cup and took a sip. Then I questioned. "Say it. What do you want from me?" At the beginning, I had already lost. Now, I just want to take back the aura that belongs to me. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I be timid? Even though I did take someone's virginity while he was drunk back then. But didn't Chayan enjoy it too? This matter is mutual. There's no question of who takes advantage of whom. Chayan, this shameless and unreserved person. As soon as I finished speaking, he directly took my water cup from my hand. In my stunned state, he took a sip and then asked in reply, "What do you think, mother of my son? This is plagiarism. Plagiarizing my actions and Dora." I glared at him resentfully. "He's my son. Without me, could you give birth to him?" I gave in. The G family's temperament is that they absolutely won't allow their own bloodline to be left outside. After all, their family really seems to have a throne to inherit. Since being tough doesn't work, I have to be soft. "Chayan, what are you doing? If you want a child, there are thousands of women who are willing to give birth for you. What's the point of bullying me? A lonely single mother?" Chayan narrowed his eyes slightly and moved closer to me. I backed away. He pinched my chin before I could. "Rowan, did I bully you? You are about to take my son away. Isn't that bullying me?" "Sorry." Every lecher will unconsciously be nervous when facing a handsome guy approaching. Especially a handsome guy who I once loved but couldn't have. "When did I want to take your son away?" Chayan moved closer again. I pressed on his chest to stop him from advancing. But I really was powerless. Lacking strength in my waist, I fell onto the sofa with a thud. Chayan put his hands on both sides of my head. The atmosphere was extremely ambiguous. I helplessly closed my eyes. "What? What do you say? Ex-heartless slag woman." The latter sentence was said in my ear, so close that I could feel the hot air spraying on my ear canal. Fortunately, at this moment, my good son came out of the bedroom. "Bad guy. Let go of my mom." The little one roared and ran over with his little fist raised. I took the opportunity to push Chayan away, and jumped 3 feet away. I held the little one who wanted to hit him, and went to the bedroom door. The little one was really angry. When I was holding him, he still raised his little fist. "Mom, let me go. I want to hit you." Chayan inappropriately educated. "Son, in a society ruled by law, killing is illegal. Damn you." The little one wilted. He put down his little fist and just glared at his bad father viciously. Seeing that both of us were speechless, Chayan continued to be shameless. "And I didn't bully your mom. Maybe if you came out later, you could have a younger brother or sister." I was furious. "Chayan, shut up." Chayan shrugged innocently. "Just kidding." And, saying that, he looked at the little one with a smile in his eyes again. "Chen, don't you want a younger brother or sister?" Hearing this, the little one's expression really froze for a moment and his eyes lit up. "Mom, is there really a younger brother or sister?" I looked at the little one with a smile. "Baby, who is he?" The little one looked at me and then at Chayan, who was looking expectantly on the other side. Puzzled, he said, "Bad guy?" I nodded with a smile, ignoring Chi-on's cries of injustice. I asked the little one again, "Can you listen to what bad guys say?" The little one's expression was resolute, as if he was about to join the party. "No." I nodded with a smile. The little one looked disappointed. Then he puffed up angrily and said, "You bad guy. Big liar." I didn't. Chayan still wanted to argue, but I gave him a sharp look. He shut up again. After comforting the little one, I planned to settle accounts with Chayan again. The little one was very obedient. Of course. It would be better if he didn't look at me pitifully when entering the room and ask me, "Is there really no younger brother or sister?" This time I drew a clear distance and made Chayan stand 3 steps away. "I understand what you mean. You want me to marry you and then take Chen back to the Ji family with us. Right?" Chayan nodded. "We already had an engagement. And now we have a child too." I refused. After Chayan finished speaking, Chayan looked puzzled. "Why?" "First, our engagement has been voided. When I left a letter that made this very clear. Second, a family formed by parents who don't love each other won't increase the happiness of the child. This is also why you don't like me all of a sudden." I frowned and waited for him to continue. But a hint of redness appeared on his face. As if he was ashamed and angry. The words behind were not spoken for a long time. I don't know what's so hard to say. So I just said it for him. "Yes." Chayan looked at me incredulously. As if he wanted to say something. But I spoke first. "I know you like Juan." Chayan's reaction was very strange. He seemed to heave a sigh of relief. But then quickly became angry again. "When did I like Juan?" I sneered. "That night you all." Chayan's entire face twisted up because of his inner conflict. "Impossible. I don't believe it. You must have heard wrong." I rolled my eyes at him. Then I pinched my throat and spoke sarcastically. "Juan wanna love you so much." After saying that, my tone changed. "Someone said that." Chayan's face flushed suddenly. Then he thought of something and suddenly asked, "You said I called out Juan at that time?" I was on guard. "Don't try to pass it off by saying you called me. Everyone has always called me Ru or you since I was little. And with the way you disliked me before. Only when I was in the late stage of being love-struck would I be deceived by you. Now I have already been cured. So don't try to play word games with me." Chayan put his hand to his forehead. "So you left just because of this?" I was a little angry. "What do you mean just because of this? Isn't this important? I have money and good looks. What else would I want in marriage if not for love?" Chayan didn't mock my view on marriage. He nodded and asked again. "So if I liked you at that time, you wouldn't have left, right?" To be fair, it's true. After all, back then I was also a pure love warrior. If Chayan really liked me, I guess I would be so stupid as to choose to stay by his side and fight against the plot with him. But now, I didn't answer. It's not that I've lost the courage to love. It's just simply that I don't want to get entangled with Chayan, the Ji family, and everyone who has been involved in the plot anymore. I just want to quietly raise my child and do what I like. I didn't make a sound. But Chayan nodded. "I understand. I will find a way to explain this matter clearly to you. It's getting late. You two rest early. I'll come see you again tomorrow." After saying that, he got up and left. I sat on the sofa and fell into deep thought. According to the novel's plot, Chayan's family background, looks, and intelligence are almost all top-notch. Because he has been used to being adored by others since he was young. He has always been a proud person. But Juan is a special existence. She has always been cold and indifferent to this young man named Ji Chayan. This makes the young master very annoyed by this phenomenon and inevitably deeply attracted. All in all, so cheap. I think this guy can only be the second male lead. It has a lot to do with his awkward personality. On the one hand, he subconsciously likes the female lead. On the other hand, he brainwashes himself into thinking he hates the female lead. Chayan realized that he liked the female lead in a kidnapping plot. Chayan mistakenly thought the female lead had run away from home. At first, he was very angry. He felt that the female lead ate and drank from his family, leaving just like that without any conscience. Precisely because of this, he missed the best opportunity to find the female lead. And the male lead who returned later seized the opportunity to be the hero, saving the beauty first. By the time Xiang Qian realized that the female lead had been kidnapped and the sweet pet plot of mutual liking and tentative exploration was supposed to start according to the original plot. I was also involved in the kidnapping. Could it be that because I ran away, the female lead didn't experience the kidnapping? So this fool Qian still hasn't realized that he likes the female lead? It shouldn't be. So many years have passed. The female lead and the male lead have even had a baby. No matter how slow-witted he is, he should have discovered his jealousy towards the male lead and his liking for the female lead. Right? Could it be that he discovered it too late, and it was all too late? So he didn't want to admit it? I thought about it over and over again for a long time, and finally decided, baby, mommy will take you traveling. A little brat was almost asleep and looked at me in confusion. Mommy, are we really going traveling? I immediately took out the baby-carrying device I bought before, carried the baby in one hand and dragged the luggage in the other, and quietly slipped away that night. Whether he's truly arrogant or just pretending to like me, sister won't keep you company. At worst, I'll run away again. When I hurriedly rushed to the airport with the brat, it was just in time for ticket checking. After a lot of hustle and bustle, the brat and I arrived in country at 5 o'clock the next morning. At 9:30 in the morning, the brat and I checked into the nearest hotel. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was woken up by hunger. Fortunately, I had prepared 2 pieces of bread in advance. The brat who woke up earlier had already eaten 2 pieces, so he didn't starve as much as his mother. I was really out of strength, so I called the front desk and asked them to send food directly. After a while, someone knocked on the door. Oh, this hotel is so efficient. I happily opened the door. Qian was holding a takeout bag in one hand and waving with the other, smiling and saying, "Good afternoon, my fiancé who can teleport." I immediately closed the door. A big hand held the edge of the door to stop my movement. I pushed hard a few times, but couldn't compete with Qian outside. And he slipped in. Then he closed the door casually. I didn't react in time, and lunged forward. He leaned sideways, and my face just hit his chest. "What? Are you throwing yourself into my arms out of guilt? Just end it all. Mommy." I smell the aroma of red bean buns. The brat came out following the smell. As soon as he came out and saw me and his father, whose identity he couldn't distinguish, hugging each other. To be more precise, it looked more like I was pushing Qian against the door aggressively. "Mommy, why are you hugging this bad guy?" I suddenly got up, but a big hand on the back of my head pushed me back again. The bad guy said, "Good son. You have a sharp nose. Here, these are the red bean buns I bought for you. See if you like them. Also, I'm not a bad guy. I'm your father. If you don't believe me, ask your mommy." The hand on the back of my head loosened, but I didn't have the courage to look up. I really didn't have the courage to lie to the brat's innocent big eyes. And I really didn't want to tell him that his father, who had ascended to immortality, had fallen from the sky again. But if I didn't look up, the brat would come over on his own. After all, when facing one's own origin, not to mention children, even adults can't help but ask until they get to the bottom of it. "Mommy." The brat tugged at my clothes with teary eyes. "Is this bad guy really my father?" I gritted my teeth and decided to play word games. "No, baby. I'm your father. Qian." "The brat," I said with great emotion, squatting down to be at eye level with the brat, and said seriously, "Mommy raised you alone, being both a father and a mother. So mommy is both mommy and daddy." The brat nodded blankly. Qian gritted his teeth above our heads. "Rowan, do you really think I'm dead?" The brat immediately stretched out his little arms to block in front of me. "Mommy told me a long time ago. My father is an angel. He has flown to the sky. You bad guy. Don't try to deceive me." Qian took a deep breath. "Oh no. It's gone too far." I was thinking about how to get out of the situation while holding the brat and moving back, when I heard Qian say, "I really owe you 2. Then he handed over the takeout bag. Eat. You two living fathers. Mommy. Why does the bad guy call me daddy? I reached out and covered the brat's mouth. Chayan. Chayan calmed down the anger in his heart again. Simply opened the bag directly. Took out 2 red bean buns from it. And stuffed one into the mouths of me and the brat respectively. I knew what he meant. He wanted to shut us up. Although I was angry. But seeing that he was about to leave, I reluctantly let him have some peace for a while. When the brat saw me eating, he started to move his mouth too. The little guy has a similar taste to me. We both like sweet things. Seeing that the brat and I were eating quietly, Chayan's brows relaxed a little. At first glance, he seemed a little gentle. Am I good looking? Chayan cheekily brought his face closer. I came to my senses, and quickly turned my face away. Although you look okay, you're a bad guy. Chayan held his forehead. I'm really not a bad guy. What do I have to do to make you believe me? The brat, if you're not a bad guy, why did you stop me and mommy? Chayan was helpless, because I'm afraid you two will run away again. The brat was angry. If you're not a bad guy, why should we run away? What a great brat. Well said. I couldn't wait to applaud the brat on the spot. Chayan was at a loss for words and turned his head, looking at me pitifully and asking, Rowan, am I a bad guy? I turned my face away and didn't answer. Mainly because I was indeed a little guilty. Chayan, although he used to be arrogant, domineering, venom-tongued, and foul-mouthed, was still a rather kind-hearted person. Otherwise, he would be a villain instead of the second male lead. I was hesitating about whether to slightly rehabilitate this guy, when suddenly there was a rather awkward cry from the opposite side. Yes. Chayan was covering his face and crying. Although it was fake. How pitiful I am. I didn't do anything wrong. But my fiancé misunderstood that I had fallen in love with someone else and then I lost my wife. Finally, when I found my wife and son, my son also misunderstood that I was a bad guy. And my wife didn't even help me say a word. I'm so miserable. Really. Woo, when I came to my senses, I flared up. Who is your wife? The brat was young after all. Easy to be deceived. And soft-hearted. He tugged at my sleeve and said sympathetically, Mommy, don't be angry first. He's crying. Seeing this, Chayan immediately found his way and reached out to tug at the brat's clothes corner. Crying. I'm really so pitiful, my wife doesn't recognize me. My son doesn't recognize me. Woo, the brat was soft-hearted, and went over helplessly to pat Chayan on the shoulder. Don't cry. Mommy said that a man shouldn't cry easily. I couldn't bear to watch it anymore and got up to go inside. Chayan took the opportunity to win the brat's sympathy. But your mommy doesn't want me anymore. If your mommy doesn't want you, will you be sad? The brat immediately empathizes. Revenge. This guy was just getting revenge on me for playing word games about the brat's father issue just now. Chayan. I was just about to curse when the brat ran over with red-rimmed eyes. My heart sank. I should have known better than to teach the brat to be so soft-hearted. Chayan behind me showed a triumphant smile. I gritted my teeth and was about to continue cursing when I heard the brat say crisply, Mommy. Can you also be the bad guy's mommy? Chayan's smile froze. And my mind went blank. When the brat saw that I didn't answer, he added another sentence. He's really so pitiful. Chayan had a smile on his lips. But the veins on his temple were twitching. And he said slowly through gritted teeth, No. Thank you. What I lack is a wife. Not a mother. I didn't laugh. Really? Gaga 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 gaga. Chayan laughed while clutching his heart. The next morning, I thought that after being so angry yesterday, he should calm down for a few days. As a result, the next morning, he showed up at our door with a big smile again. Good morning. Fiancé etsk. It's like dancing on an old lady's grave, it's so strange. Chayan actually has such a shameless day. I rolled my eyes and ignored him. I took the brat and walked out on my own. Because he pretended to be pitiful yesterday. The brat's attitude towards him was a little better. He didn't call him a bad guy anymore. Instead, he said, "Good morning, bad guy brother." Chayan slowly crouched down while clutching his heart. Although I was a little gloating, this title was indeed inappropriate. He's older than mommy. You should call him uncle. The brat bit his fingertip and looked at me blankly, then nodded. Chayan interrupted angrily. I deserve to be pissed off by you too. I was in a good mood, humming a little tune and taking the brat out to play. Chayan didn't follow immediately. I thought he had given up. But as soon as I walked out of the hotel door, he caught up again and had adjusted his mood. Where are you planning to go to play? I ignored him. The brat said, Mommy said she would take me to see black swans. Chayan nodded and began to casually get closer to the brat. The big one and the small one were chatting happily. And I didn't stop them. After all, the brat was indeed Chayan's son. If Chayan could really be good to the brat, then going back to the G family would definitely be better for the brat. Especially for his future development. Why do you keep following us? The brat asked. Chayan didn't avoid the question at all. I want to be your father. Why do you want to be my father? Don't you have a father? Chayan took a breath, calmed his emotions, and answered positively with a smile. I have a father. But I don't have a son. The brat nodded. Also, Mommy has a son. And you're older than Mommy but don't have a son. You are really pitiful. Chayan looked at him expectantly. Then are you willing to be my son? The brat shook his head. No. I'm already Mommy's son. Chayan, but you only have one mommy. I can be your father. Do other children have both a mommy and a father? The brat fell into deep thought. He looked at me, then at Chayan, and finally his little hand hesitantly reached out towards Chayan. Damn it. This dog man knows how to play palace intrigue. Chayan's face lit up, and he was about to reach out to hold the brat's other hand, when I bent down first and picked the brat up in my arms. I still didn't want to let Chayan have it so easily. However, just as I picked up the brat, suddenly someone put his arm around my shoulder and pulled me forcefully into his arms. A figure rushed past in a panic from behind. Many people were pushed to the ground. Only when I heard the screams of the women behind did I realize that it was a robber. Before I could react, the hand on my shoulder quickly let go, and Chayan quickly caught up with the figure just now and neatly pinned the person to the ground with his hands behind his back. I saw a flash of light under the figure who was tied up. Immediately, I shouted, Chayan, there's a knife. Be careful. By the time I finished shouting, Chayan had already twisted the hand of the person holding the knife. Clang, the dagger fell to the ground. And then Chayan turned his head to smile at me. For a moment, the appearance of the man overlapped with that of the boy 10 years ago. And my heart pounded violently. In high school, it was because Chayan helped me drive away the hooligans who surrounded me that I fell in love with him. Unfortunately, after the engagement, he never smiled at me again. When I came to my senses, Chayan had already returned to us. The robber just now had been taken away by the police. He waved his hand in front of me. Fallen in love with me again? I couldn't help blushing. Just as I was about to retort, Bad guy uncle. You're so amazing. Chayan flicked his finger and gently knocked on the brat's little head. Uncle? No, it's Hero uncle. This mother forgetting for Hero's brat. After saying that, stretched out his hands and wanted Chayan to hold him. Before I could react, Chayan had already taken the brat away. Maybe calling me Hero Daddy would make our relationship closer. The mother forgetting for Hero's brat. Mommy. He is my daddy. The brat worships Heroes the most. Now, he was completely controlled by Chayan by accident. I was indignant but helpless. So I simply told the brat the truth. Actually, I still don't know how to deal with the relationship between the brat and Chayan until now. Actually, I also know that ultimately, it's because I can't handle my relationship with Chayan well. But I just can't be with a man who likes someone else. Even if Chayan doesn't like one now. The brat was happy all day long because he found his hero daddy. He had been playing the game of imitating superheroes with Chayan. Because he played too happily, he fell asleep before reaching the hotel. Chayan put him aside. Before, the brat only let me hold him when he was sleeping. After tucking the brat in, Chayan turned to look at me. I snorted coldly and turned my face away. Today, because I didn't want to affect the brat's mood, I tried my best to restrain my emotions when facing Chayan. Now that the brat was asleep, I didn't need to pretend anymore. Are you on? Let's talk. There's nothing to talk about. Go back. Chayan stared at me for a while and finally nodded, said good night, and went to the next room. I looked at the brat's sleeping face, tossed and turned, and couldn't fall asleep. So I simply went to the balcony to enjoy the cool breeze and drank 2 bottles of wine. The next day, as I expected, I had a fever. I woke up relying on the alarm clock and changed the brat's clothes. I calculated the time very accurately. Just as I finished packing up for the brat, Chayan knocked on the door. Good morning. Fiang Qi. Good. His voice stopped halfway, and his face froze. What's wrong with you? Your face looks so bad. I suppressed my voice and explained. Probably caught a cold. The brat looked up at me and asked, Mommy, are you sick? Chayan reached out towards my forehead with a solemn face. I tilted my head to avoid his hand, feeling a little uncomfortable, and bent down to explain to the brat. Mommy is fine. Mommy will be okay after a sleep. Let your daddy take you to play today. Okay? Before the brat could answer, Chayan refused. No. I'll take you to the hospital. I have a headache. Don't bother me. I'll take good care of the brat. Just let me sleep. After saying that, I saw that Chayan's worry in his eyes was too sincere, and I felt a little sorry. So I added a few more sentences. I know my own body. I'll be fine after a sleep. Then I handed over the bag containing the brat's water cup, snacks, etc. Is it okay? Chayan took the bag. I was worried that he would persuade me again, so I made an excuse that I was sleepy and slipped back into the bed. I was indeed sleepy and fell asleep almost as soon as I lay down. I originally thought. Clean. Unexpectedly. When I opened my eyes again in the afternoon, the man was sitting by the bed. Not seeing the brat, I panicked all of a sudden. Chen? Where is he? Chayan was startled by me. When he came to his senses, he quickly held me down who was struggling to get up. Chen is in the next room. Don't worry. Someone is taking care of him. Using illness to avoid things is a stupid method, because it's easy to become stupid. It took me a while to realize after Chayan finished speaking that Chayan was the brat's biological father and wouldn't leave the brat alone. I breathed a sigh of relief and asked in confusion, who is with him in the next room? Chayan handed me a glass of water. Don't worry. I'll take good care of him. But you, how did you suddenly get sick? I took the water, and he reached out to touch my forehead again to check the temperature. It's not hot anymore. I lowered my eyes, and my head was a little empty. Do you want me to bring Chen here? Do you want to eat something? Do you want some dessert? Suddenly, he brought his face closer again and shamelessly said another sentence out of the blue. Do you want a kiss? I didn't pay attention to what he said at all, and subconsciously was about to say yes. Just at this time, there was a knock on the door. I heard Chayan impatiently click his tongue before I realized what he had just said. I grabbed a pillow and threw it at him. Chayan wasn't annoyed either. He laughed softly and put the pillow back in place. After Chayan opened the door, the first one who ran over was the brat. Mommy, are you feeling better? Looking at the brat's concerned expression, I only felt warm in my heart. Mommy is okay. Sorry for making baby worried. Who was with you in the next room just now? It was second grandma. Long time no see. Are you Owan? I looked up and saw a face so beautiful that it made my heart palpitate. It was the female-led Wan. Even though I had comforted myself for so long, when I saw Juan again, I still couldn't help but feel a tinge of jealousy towards her. She was gentle, generous, strong, calm, beautiful, and intelligent. She was truly the chosen female led. Of course, I also knew that beneath this dark jealousy was actually the inferiority complex of knowing that I couldn't compare. Let alone Chaeyoung. If I were a man, I would probably fall in love with her too. It's a pity that I'm not a man. I'm still straight. And the man I like likes her. As I was thinking, a small white hand waved in front of me. Mommy? Mommy? I came to my senses and met the brat's confused eyes. Then I felt ridiculous. I had been hiding for 5 years. The plot had ended 2 years ago. But I was still deeply trapped in the role of the vicious female supporting character, and couldn't extricate myself. Long time no see. Juan. I hugged the brat and smiled at her. Juan smiled and sat on the edge of the bed. Can I talk to you alone? I didn't really want to talk. I just wanted to run away. But obviously, I couldn't keep running away now. So I had to nod. Chaeyoung took the brat away again. After the door closed, Juan began to speak. You're also an awakener, right? I was stunned. This is a system error. I didn't understand. Juan continued to explain. You know, our world is a novel. I'm the female lead. Logically, Chaeyoung should like me. But he doesn't. This has caused a certain deviation in the plot. So the system came to me and asked me to court Chaeyoung. Do you know who Chaeyoung likes? You don't mean to say it's me. Do you? The corner of my mouth twitched. I just felt it was absurd. I'm not lying to you. I don't believe it. You say he likes me. Then when I left, why didn't he look for me? Juan didn't speak. Just stared at me intently. It didn't seem like she was at a loss for words. It was more like she was examining me. This made me a little nervous. Why are you looking at me like this? Juan sighed, and asked me in return, Are you Juan? Do you remember when you left? After awakening. Then do you remember when you awakened? I was a little embarrassed to say it. But facing Juan's gaze, I couldn't not say it either. Finally, I stammered, after sleeping. Sleeping with Chaeyoung. If it were you. Facing someone who pestered you to confess every day before sleeping. And then directly broke off the engagement and ran away after sleeping. What do you think the other person would leave because of? Suddenly, I thought of Chaeyoung's stammering appearance when he talked about the reason for my leaving again on the night when he found me. Juan, he thought you despised his skills. Juan, you know, he was a TS undery before. With such a serious blow to his self-esteem. He must have been in seclusion for a while. Juan, don't cover your face with the quilt and pretend to be dead. Stop talking. Stop talking. How could I have thought of these things at that time? If I had known that such a serious misunderstanding would be caused, I would have run away later. Juan was kind. She didn't blame me for this. She just patted my shoulder and comforted me. Of course. It's not all your fault. Yanjun is also at fault. If he hadn't mocked Chaeyoung about this later, Chaeyoung would probably have been in seclusion for a shorter time. Well, this consolation is worse than no consolation. I was embarrassed for a while, and then thought of another thing. But when he was drunk, he called Juan Juan. How can you be sure whether he was calling me or you? Juan, is there a possibility that he just wanted to give you a unique name? I was just about to refute, when she handed me a notebook. When I opened it, it was Chaeyoung's diary. It clearly said, Juan Juan on it. Not Juan Juan, referring to her. Juan, you don't need to feel so guilty either. Actually, your choice to leave was, in a sense, also right. I looked up at her hopefully. Juan, at least it made that TS undery change his temper. If he had confessed to you earlier. Not to mention confessing. If he had been a little less cold to you because of his pride. You wouldn't have left either. This point did comfort me a little. After Juan left, Chaeyoung came back. I curled up in the quilt with my head down, pretending to be asleep. Who can understand this embarrassment of mistaking a pure love fighter, who is wholeheartedly devoted to me, for a scumbag? For a long time, there was no movement outside. I wondered if I had heard wrong. I quietly lifted a corner of the quilt and peeked out. And then I saw Cheon's big face. Chaeyeon didn't realize how scary he was at all. He just asked gloomily, "Have you forgiven me?" Seeing that I didn't answer, he got up and sat on the edge of the bed, leaned closer to me, and asked again, "Have you forgiven me?" The distance was a little close. I moved back, and he moved forward again until I was pushed to the head of the bed with no way to retreat. "Have you forgiven me?" I had to nod. "Can I hug you?" This kind of thing. He was almost on top of me. Did he still need to ask more? I ignored him, and he was like a clingy big dog. He leaned closer to my face again, his nose almost poking my face. So I had to nod again. As soon as I nodded, I was vigorously hugged into his arms. Chaeyeon suddenly became aggrieved and began to condemn me in a rambling manner. "Do you know that you are really too much? You left without a word. Even if you misunderstood that I liked one, you should have at least asked me one more question. Do you know how long I was laughed at by Won and Yinjun after you left?" I also fell into self-doubt for a long time. When a person's certain emotion reaches its peak, it's easy to say some stupid things. For example, now I was so guilty that I wanted to excuse myself. So I said, "Your skills are indeed average too." Then the next day, I successfully slept until the afternoon. Chaeyeon was as fast as ever. Just as I was considering what to have for lunch when I got off the plane, he had already arranged to meet the parents. Meeting Cheon's father and mother again, I was actually a little embarrassed. After all, I had left their son without a word before, and it was still with such an embarrassing misunderstanding. But their attitude towards me was very tolerant. Cheon's mother held my hand and said with a smile, "It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back." Cheon's father was having a great time teasing the brat. I was actually a little curious whether they were really not angry, but I was too embarrassed to ask. It was not until later that I knew that it was because Chaeyeon took all the blame on himself. So Cheon's father and mother, like me, thought that I was the victim. Chaeyeon asked me proudly while driving, "Are you touched? Aren't you a TS underi? When did you become a peacock?" Chaeyeon choked and said angrily, "I almost lost my wife and children because of my TS underi. How dare I be TS underi anymore?" I snorted coldly. "Who is your wife?" The brat suddenly said beside me. "Mommy. Is this also called TS underi?" Chaeyeon laughed out loud in the front. I pinched the brat's face, who forgot his mother when he had a father, angrily. "Whose side are you on?" The brat looked innocent. "But second grandma said that I should supervise you too. Otherwise, it will take you a long time to get married again."